It's chaos.
It's a different type of Sunday scary.
It's your newest obsession.
It's Dirty Driving, a Formula One podcast.
We're the Hornsby sisters. I'm Katie.
And I'm Megan.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Megan and I are back again for our first race recap of the season, and what a race we have to recap. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. Megan and I have not spoken about this at all as we've both been traveling. So I do want to say this one thing. If you've not listened to our Formation Lap 2022 for Dummies or our Welcome Back episode, Dirty Driving a Second Year, we highly suggest doing so as we are in a brand new era of F1. So there are loads of changes this year in both regulations and a brand new car. So take a listen to those if you have not already.
And on top of that, because we've been traveling, like when I tell you we haven't talked about this race, I mean, the text messages we've exchanged have been minimal. In fact, I think it's really only been like, what, 2?
Maybe 2, maybe 3. And then there were a couple like, oh, we have to record an episode about this. Ah!
I'm kind of excited to talk about this one, not having talked at all, but I'm also terrified because normally I at least know what you're about to drop some bombs on, and today I know nothing. So
it should be wild.
I have a feeling it's going to be wild. And more importantly, she has no idea what I'm going to say.
None.
Am I the riskier
with what you
one?
got.
Am I the riskier one?
I don't know who has dirtier takes. I think it depends on the day. Depends on who has the attitude of the day. I think we're both low attitude today, so low dirty takes.
We'll see. I think as I start talking, I might and you might also have some. Okay. And she's laughing maniacally in her hostel in Italy. Like, can I just point that out that she gets to be in Italy and I'm back at home now. I'm home from traveling and she's just hanging in Italy.
Yeah, sorry everybody, but I'm in Italy.
Have you seen
everyone's mad at me. And no, I know what you're going to ask. No, I did not see Antonio Giovinazzi. I wish I did. I saw some awesome, marketing press for the, what's it called? Formula E race in Rome that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But unfortunately, did not run into Antonio Giovinazzi. You would have known. There would have been a text about that. I did run into sorry to interrupt, but I did run into that cardboard cutout of Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel. So, I get points for something.
Also, let's point out that one of the race texts was that, and underneath the picture, she just said, I do. Oh my God, that was the worst cackle ever. I apologize, but she literally just sent the picture and said, I do.
I do.
And one of these days, it will just show up on the story and she won't know. And then all of you will know it's coming. So keep an eye out on the story.
Oh, I put that on the story.
You already did it and I missed it?
I already did it. I did it. I took a picture of this cute little Ferrari licensed store that was selling, Ferrari goods. And I said, can you spot our pole sitter? Because you could see the little cardboard cutout. Not little. It was man-sized. And then I took the selfie that I sent you, and I said, I do. We got some laughs, so appreciate those of you who laughed at it.
Wow, I can't believe I missed that on our own story. That's pretty embarrassing. That's like a dirty take on myself. Hey, I've been busy. Okay, and let's move on rapidly through this one. Okay, more importantly, I am beyond excited to talk about our first race of the 2022 season. We were in Bahrain in Shakir. Interesting race, and I know we're going to dive into it, but this is one of those races where I kind of dived into some of the numbers and the stats as I was reading about it. So first off, biggest one, most interesting one that I'm going to drop on you because I haven't shared these with Katie is first off, the winner of the opening race has finished the championship as the runner-up since 2017. So Charles Leclerc, is he going to be the runner-up? Are we going to do another year of that stat? We'll see. She's making a weird face.
No. I like that. I'll be intrigued because according to our guesses, you had Carlos Sainz, correct? And I had Max Verstappen. So I would actually be quite okay with Charles Leclerc coming in second place.
I'll be interested to see if that stat holds up as we move into a new era or if that's just gone. Let's talk about Ferrari because I got a couple of cool stats about Ferrari that I have found. First off, before this weekend, Ferrari was winless for the last 45 races. I guess I really didn't pay attention to how long that they had gone without a race, which is their second longest winless streak in their history. The longest streak was 59 races from Spain of 1990 to Germany of 1994. So shout out to Charles for breaking it. This is also their first 1-2 since Singapore of 2019 with Vettel and Charles Leclerc. Ferrari led every single lap this race. The last time they did that was Belgium in 2018. And are you ready for this? This one is the one that blew my mind considering how badly the Ferrari performed in the last couple of years and the Ferrari and the teams that had Ferrari engines. Out of the top 6 cars, 4 of them had Ferrari engines. We had the 2 Ferraris, we had the 1 Alfa, and we had 1 Haas.
Whoa, that is shocking to me, especially because I think what I've realized is I think I'm a closet Ferrari fan. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed them until we saw some wins. Like, I was like, wait, I think I like Charles Leclerc. Like, not like as in, oh, I like him, I want to date him, like I'm in love with him, but I like him as a driver, and I just kind of forgot about it. So, props to Ferrari and Charles. Honestly, it was a great weekend for everyone in red.
I mean, I loved it in red. I still think the cars should be a little bit darker. The livery should be a little bit better. But I did love watching them this weekend. And you know I love the smooth operator. The last cool stat I'm going to give you, Katie, before we jump in is this is the first double retirement for Red Bull since Austria of 2020, which is not that long of a time, but it's pretty insane that this happened on the back of a world championship victory race, essentially.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked. I had to watch the race a little delayed, so I had heard what had happened, and I was shocked to hear that both of them DNF'd. And then watching it, I was like, whoa, that's insane. That they were the lead in, they were the favorites going into the race, and then literally the last, 44. 3 laps?
What was
55, 55 and 57. So the last 2 laps, and all blown away.
Implosion at the last second. So didn't see that one coming. It was interesting, and we're gonna get into the details. I just had to drop those stats on her. Before I think Katie, we had some plans to discuss the FIA. I know we had some announcements this week or last week.
Yes, last week we had the release of information from the FIA about the Abu Dhabi controversy. And let's talk a little bit about their findings first. So race director responsibilities will be divided and assigned to reduce the workload or allow them to focus on key functions better since they won't be focused on doing everything at once. Communications between F1 teams and the race director will be restricted to prevent disruptions and distractions. So that's a huge one. We saw it already this first race that they're not allowed to communicate.
No more bargaining.
No more bargaining.
And no, Michael, no, Michael.
Exactly. And then In regards to the safety car, so the safety car unlap, it's the process to identify lapped cars used to be a manual process. And now for the 2022 season, a software has been developed that will automate the communication of the list of cars that must unlap themselves. So we are taking human error out of it and trusting a software process to do it for us. And then the sporting regulations were changed from any to all in reading all cars that have been lapped by the leader will be required to pass the cars on the lead lap and the safety car. So, little clarification on the safety car rules, which I think was needed. Obviously, we didn't know that until we had this 1 in a million controversy that happened in Abu Dhabi.
It got even spicier last week when the FIA said that the World Motorsports Council, not commission, unanimously endorsed the contents of that report, and the FIA will continue to work to implement the recommendations. The findings, or the report found that the race director, Michael Massey, was acting in good faith, so it wasn't malicious, while stating that due to the fact that it was like a manual intervention, it's a manual process, resulted in a higher risk of human error. Therefore, software has been developed and is going to be implemented. So Katie, ultimately, does this mean that the FIA is like seal of approval, sign, seal, deliver, saying that the incident that happened in Abu Dhabi was just human error?
You know, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I'd have to agree that it was human error, and I would think that now that the human who made the error is gone, I'm pretty content about it all, and I'm ready to move on.
The only thing I'm worried about is that in give it like 8, 9, 10 years, I bet it's going to be something dumb, like exactly a decade, because that would just be so serendipitous in a weird way. There'll be some issue with the software that results in some controversy, and then they'll be like, it was a software error. We've got to go back to humans. So I feel like it's a little bit of a skirt out of this. I don't know. I will be interested to see how this plays out. The part of this that I am happy about, and I think that this is the most important part of what they said, is that the FIA, under the World Council's ruling, has said that they are going to accept finishing races under a safety car for safety reasons if it's not possible to withdraw it, which I think is ultimately where the issue came. Wouldn't you agree that they were determined to finish under a green flag?
I would totally agree. And I think back to Abu Dhabi, not all that frequently, but often. And I wonder what would happen if we really did just finish under a safety car. Where would we be now is kind of the question. Because we know where we are now with all of the drama, and we can't really play the what if game with the past, but I have been a little bit with Abu Dhabi, just because it has caused so much negativity within the world of F1 that I never would have thought we would have had.
It almost feels like we should have just ended under a safety car to just close the chapter, the book, the 1,000-page encyclopedia edition that is 2021. If anyone's under the age of me, they probably don't remember having to go to the library and have different encyclopedias for each letter. I would put the entire 2021 season in the 26 volume encyclopedia. Oh goodness. Should we get to the race?
Yeah, let's get to the race.
Okay, let's talk about practice. First off, most importantly, both the Red Bull and the Ferrari looked strong in practice. Definitely looked strong on Friday. The Red Bull Red Bull, not the Red Bull, there are two of them, were the season favorites after testing going into this weekend. We knew that they were working on, we were expecting some updates. We got them. Verstappen went fastest in FP2 and FP3, so we expected that. It was not really any bit of a surprise to anybody what happened on Friday for them. Ferrari, the F175, wow, I'm going to get that wrong every time I say it this year, is quick though. Let me tell you, it is chasing that Red Bull and it is going to bring the fight to Verstappen and Perez. Both cars were in the top three for both FP1 and FP2. They were only 0.18 seconds off of Red Bull, which is freaking impressive considering where they were last year. I know it's a new car and all that. We shouldn't be comparing. I'm just saying. Like I said, both of the drivers, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, were both second and third in FP1 and FP2. So while they didn't top the charts that day, they were pretty damn fast, and we saw it. Also, notable mentions for Friday's practice were Alpine and Alfa Romeo, which surprised me. I honestly didn't think I'd be talking about them in terms of their speed and pace, but they were stronger than expected on Friday. Alpine had a rough preseason. We talked about it. I ranked them low. Katie ranked them low. Connor ranked them low. However, they showed us something on Friday. After the whole loose side pod that Ocon dealt with in FP1, both drivers felt pretty good and looked pretty good in those cars, and they had a strong Friday after all. Alfa Romeo, on the same hand, also came out with some strength that I wasn't surprising. After a hiccup in FP1, just like Alpine, where Bottas really only got 2 installation laps in. I don't think he put up a single fast time at all, if I'm remembering correctly. He was able to put in some strong runs. So they were solidly in the midfield, which is not something that any of us thought. Maybe it was just me, but I don't think, Katie, right? You weren't thinking they were going to come out swinging.
Yeah, I had no idea where that came from, and I honestly still don't know where that came from. But I'm happy about it.
Very happy to see it. It was a massive improvement on the preseason that we know had been challenging for them, that resulted in a lot of questions about pace, reliability, performance. Where was it going to lead to the season? I think it really made me question the ability of Valtteri to be, good, full stop, just good, and really what kind of rookie year that Zhao was going to have. Let's talk qualifying, because qualifying was quite shocking. Not really shocking in the terms of Charles Leclerc taking pole position. I mean, I kind of thought that it was going to be Max Verstappen after his pace on Friday, but happy to see a Ferrari take it. He would share the front row with Max Verstappen, who would go second fastest, and then the second row would be the second drivers, the other drivers. It would be Ferrari and Red Bull as well. I hate calling them second drivers, but it's awkward to be and their teammate on this. I don't know I didn't mean it like that. So yeah, first 2 rows, Ferrari, Red Bull. We knew it was going to be the red horses and the navy blue bulls fighting it out. We knew that going into this weekend. The shockers, though, and this is what I want to talk about, is McLaren. They qualified at the back of the pack. Daniel Ricciardo did not get out of Q1. I know he was just coming off of having COVID-19, probably still trying to recover. Had not had a chance to drive in Bahrain because he was so sick. Couldn't get out of Q1, ultimately ended up 18th on the grid. Lando Norris got into Q2, was only able to get a 13th fastest time on the board. Disappointing performance from that Mercedes-powered team. The other team, also a Mercedes-powered team, was Aston Martin. Stroll and Sebastian Vettel's replacement due to his COVID-19 positive test, Nico Hülkenberg. They were both out of Q1. Stroll would be out qualified by Hülkenberg, but I was not as surprised by Aston Martin, but I was very surprised by the McLaren performance in qualifying.
Yeah, and it honestly just got uglier come Sunday. So let's jump into the race. Way worse. So it was lights out, and away we went for an even start between Leclerc and Verstappen. And Charles actually managed to stay ahead and take the lead. We saw Hamilton and Magnussen get around Perez, and we saw Alex Albon, of all people, jump up from jump up to 11th from 14th place at the start, which I thought was an incredible first start for his first race back, first season back. Danny Rick was in the back of the pack, 20th place, and McLaren were the only ones who chose medium tires over softs to start, so not sure if that factored into it or if they're really just having trouble with the car. They ended up in 14th and 15th, Daniel in 14th and Lando in 15th to end the race. The only penalty of the race, which I was very shocked at that we only had one, went to Esteban Ocon after he had a little run-in with Mick Schumacher, who actually handled the spin beautifully and got back on track to finish 11th, just shy of the points. So proud of our boy Mick. Cannot wait to see what comes out of him the rest of the year. Then we got some amazing action, which I know we're going to talk about a little later, in laps 17 through 19, with Leclerc and Verstappen battling for first. So 2 laps in a row, we saw Verstappen come up the main straight to overtake Leclerc on the inside, just for Charles to re-overtake Max on the outside going into turn 4, and the crowd was going absolutely nuts. It was the most electric thing I saw all race, and I'm so glad we got that. On the third attempt, they line up to do the exact same thing, but Charles got lucky and got away a little bit more ahead, with Max having this huge lockup at the turn 1. So truly incredible racing. I'll leave that for a little later for Megan and I to dissect. In lap 44, this is kind of when it starts to crumble for Red Bull. So Max pits and then starts complaining of steering issues. And a couple laps later, we see Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri literally catch on fire, causing him to pull out of the car and jump out, and then DNF, which we got a safety car for. That safety car allowed the pack to kind of squish up next to each other, and then on the restart, luckily Charles got away clean again. So just 11 laps after that first complaint from Max, we got a million complaints later, all this shit over the radio saying something's wrong, and the team came on and were being very vague about what was going on. They knew what the problem was, and Max kept asking them to fill him in, and they refused to. So Max ended up falling through the grid due to engine issues, steering issues, whatever it might have been, and he was able to make his way back to the pit to DNF, and I thought it was very intriguing that he just got out of the car before they even had the chance to pull the car into the garage. So you could see that he was clearly done with whatever was going on. And it wouldn't be an amazing race without drama on the very last lap, with Perez spinning going into turn 1 and DNFing. And the commentators made this excellent point that I want to point out. They said any driver on the grid would not create that issue, would not cause that issue like that. So it was clear that it was down to the engine problems that Red Bull was having. And I think that's just an important point to make, because it wasn't on Perez in that moment, and it was on the team, and it was on the engine, which left Ferrari to take 1, 2, and Hamilton to take a podium, which is inevitable, I guess.
I mean, it was just shocking.
Absolutely
nowhere.
shocking. Out of nowhere. I did not have Hamilton. Thank God I was abroad and I couldn't place any bets, because I would not have picked any of this to happen. So,
no, I picked.
Save some money.
I jokingly threw out Sergio Perez's name to win last weekend because you guys picked my choice.
Which means Connor got it right, because he picked Charles.
I think so.
Because I picked Sergio.
Sainz.
Yeah. Oh
no, you
yeah.
picked Sainz.
Sainz, not Sergio. Excuse me. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, shall we get into our questions?
I think we do it, because I feel like we could really only break down this race by just jumping straight headfirst into it.
Diving into the questions. Megan, you want to get started with your first question?
Yeah. Okay. So I think we start with an overall race question.
Okay.
It was interesting as I was watching this race. Don't get me wrong, totally hyped about this race, but everything that happened in this race, I wasn't thinking about, oh my God, this incident, this, I was like, okay, so what does this mean for the rest of the year? Like, how does this impact the next 21, maybe 22 races that we have going on? So, first question I have for you is Red Bull unlucky, or are they in trouble? Like, Max literally said that the car is shitting itself. I'm sorry, I had to say it. So, long term, can Red Bull rein this in and get it under control?
I mean, it's Red Bull. They won the championship last year. They know what they're doing most of the time. I would think that they're going to have to, well, they're definitely going to have to. I'm going to think that they are going to figure it out. I'm not quite sure they're going to be able to do it in the next 4 days. That's a quick turnaround to figure out an issue that they don't quite know. And I did a little research. So it's not the fuel pump itself that was causing fuel supply to suddenly stop. So they are working to figure out what the actual cause of this issue is. And from what I could see so far, they have not figured it out. So again, 4 days, not a lot of time. I'm sure they're going to come up with something, some quick fix, some solution, but I'm not sure what we're going to see out of them the next 2-3 races. But I think this season is really going to come down to the second half of the season.
I think this season is going to be all about who can freaking make their car stay on track and go vroom vroom. Which is why I think, I know that sounded so childish, but I think ultimately that is going to be the biggest thing. No team has avoided any sort of reliability issue. It seems like everyone is facing something. I mean, not even Ferrari has it totally figured out. They're doing the best. They are doing the best. Full stop. They're well ahead of everybody. Ultimately, this year is going to come down to who can develop and who can develop in the right direction quickly and who can stay on track and get the most points. Because ultimately, I don't really know if this is so much of like a, oh my God, Red Bull's never going to be able to fix this. When you look at last year, like last year came down to DNFs. Like who missed out on even like scraps of points here and there. So this was like 2 drivers, first race out, where Hamilton was able to capitalize. Both Ferraris were 1-2. Right behind them was Mercedes 3-4, who was able to just like swoop in there, get lucky. I mean, well, I can't predict the future. I think starting the season with a double DNF is like digging yourself out of a 10-foot grave.
It is
technically like a 50-point grave.
50. Math is hard, but 46, 42,
whatever
it is. Yeah, I think, well, we'll just have to wait and see, honestly, because you're exactly right, Megan. I'm not really sure who's going to be using the most duct tape to hold their cars together. And the one thing that I was thinking about while you were kind of talking was there are going to be pitfalls too. There are going to be things that people and teams try and they're not going to work and they're going to have a disaster weekend. So I would bet all my money on it that this will not be the only double DNF that we will see, especially this early on in the season.
Oh, absolutely not. I will say that I think Christian Horner said it best when he said if we have a season of that happening, like season of shit like that going wrong at the end, it's going to be one hell of a season. Like, Christian, I'm gonna put this right here. I'm gonna put this might be a little dirty take for me. That might be the most intelligent thing that man has ever said. If that shit keeps happening, it's gonna suck. Yes, you are right.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is gonna suck. Which brings me to my question. We've got to talk about it. It pains me to talk about it. But
I swear, if you ask about McLaren, I can't do it.
No, that's what I'm asking about. We have to talk about it. They're our favorite team, which I don't even know where to start. But unlucky, in big trouble, burner race. Tell me what you're thinking about McLaren.
First off, I'm thinking, Norris, could we have at least waited a little bit longer to see how McLaren would have handled the changes in regulation before you signed yourself to the team for like a gajillion more years? Could we have thought about this a little bit more?
No, we couldn't have, because he signed it, because he is a McLaren boy.
I mean, and I love it. I love that he's a papaya-loving little nugget of love.
Prince.
But I'm going to be honest. So I watched qualifying late. I had to. I was busy this weekend, traveling. So when I saw the qualifying results, I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. And I knew that it was going to be a rough start for McLaren. Like everything that I had read, all the times I'd looked at, I knew that it was going to be a rough go. But I thought we were talking like
8, 10,
9, 10, 11, 12. I didn't think we were talking Daniel Ricciardo can't get out of Q1 and is stuck at 18th. So they have a lot of work to do. I am going to reserve all judgment until the end of next weekend.
Part of me thinks that this was just a fluke and we just had some issues. I'm not sure what those issues were. Maybe we just had all of the issues. When one thing bad happens, it all rains, or whatever that saying is. So I would agree with you. I thought I might have been a little premature on asking this question, but I felt like we did need to at least discuss how poor of a show out it really was this weekend. And honestly, may not be purchasing anything papaya until I see some improvements.
I mean, I can't let them down. I love them so much. I have to spend my money on them. I have to. No, I'm just struggling with it. And I think there's something to be said about the fact that Mercedes, they are a Mercedes powered team. So they need to figure some shit out. It's interesting that a lot of the Mercedes powered teams are struggling right now.
Speaking of, I'm going to jump and ask my next question. No, you're good. But before you keep going, I want to ask my next question because it has to deal with it. So at one point, the bottom 6 cars all were Mercedes engines. It was the Astons, the Williams, and the McLaren. So not to ask the same question, but is Mercedes a thing of the past, or do we think this is just a rough start to 2022?
So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go optimistic because I wasn't optimistic on the McLaren thing. I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to look at this a little holistically because if I keep talking about how shitty McLaren was, I'm going to cry. And I don't want to be on the podcast just sobbing about the boys in papaya. Look, like, I really don't want to make like holistic judgments about anybody yet because it was one race, new regulations. I think we have a lot of season to go. And I think as we develop, things are going to shake out a little bit. But ultimately, McLaren is coming off of a weekend where they missed a chunk of time. Well, first off, Daniel Ricciardo missed the entire thing with COVID. McLaren itself, the team, missed a chunk of track time because they were struggling with a brake cooling problem. I don't know if this is just them trying to work out some kinks, a kink that they didn't know that they had because they had spent all of, the last week trying to figure out the brake cooling issue. Again, we have Aston Martin who had to sub in for Sebastian Vettel at the last minute because he had COVID-19. So we had Nico Hülkenberg. And then we had Williams, which is still rebuilding. And we had, here's the deal. Nicholas Latifi, I don't really expect much from. Sorry if you love Nicholas Latifi. He's the back of the pack. He's not going to do any standout performance. I just don't see it ever coming from him. Alex Albon, had some good moments, some glimmers in there, but ultimately I think Williams is still rebuilding. So I don't know if we can say like, oops, I'm concerned yet. What about you? Do you think I'm skirting the question too much by saying that?
No, I think that's a fair response. I think you took a look at everything, and you're right. It's hard to judge at this point. It's almost unfair to judge at this point because it's only been one race and everyone is still working out kinks. I was honestly surprised to see Alpine ahead of Aston Martin just because from what we had seen, that was a shock to me. Obviously, Williams are going to be in the back of the pack. And then McLaren, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Because they showed
the whole weekend
pace.
I saw that.
They showed pace.
Not only that, but they're not a back of the pack team for me.
No, and again, they had the times last weekend.
Yeah.
Well, Norris had the times last weekend. So I don't know if the times didn't really mean what we thought they meant, if they were running setups that we weren't aware of. I don't know if, again, I don't really know how much we can base off of preseason testing because clearly the only thing that was actually accurate about preseason testing is that Ferrari and Red Bull are fast. Mercedes isn't as bad as they made it out to be like they were. They're still in trouble, and Haas is quick. So I don't really know if anything else we could really take from practice is accurate. Okay, so I want to, speaking of McLaren and Red Bull, I'm going to jump out of the sad and go to the happy. Let's talk about laps 16 through 19, because I know I was like going out of my mind excited about it. I'm going to go really generic. What did you think about the battle between laps 16 and 19? And do you think we're going to see this again and again and again this year? And three-part question.
I'm not going to be able to remember all of this.
Okay, part one. What did you think about laps 16 through 19?
Oh, thank God you're breaking it down for me. Okay. It was incredible. It was the racing that I've been wanting all of my life. I was sitting on the train and I was trying not to yell because I had an Italian nonna asleep next to me, and I was like, this is why we're here. I want to see this kind of racing. I want to be white-knuckled, holding on to the railing, holding on to wherever I'm holding. Who's going to get ahead? Who's not going to get ahead? Who's going to take it? Are they going to run into each other? They've done that in the past. Da, 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 da. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible, and I wanted more of it. Like, on the third lap when Max locked up, I was like, no, because I wanted to see it again.
I was like, can we have 4 more laps of this? Like, just give me a little bit more.
Just keep it going. Just run the tape on that the whole entire race.
Again. I was hoping that like one of those undercuts would be a little bit more successful because they tried it twice. Red Bull did. I was like, come on, give me a little bit more, Red Bull. I know that they were trying to tell Max to like back it off, and he got all mad. He was all like, don't tell me never to have my outlap.
Yeah, he said,
slow.
I wrote this down. I wrote it down. I said, never taking it easy on an outlap again.
Cool. I would just like to point out that if I see Max Verstappen ever take it easy on an outlap, I'm roasting him.
It's in my notebook. We can refer to it.
Please note the date and time of when I said that I will roast him for taking it easy on an outlap.
All right. I'll write it down next to it.
In Italian time, so it'll be thrown off, but whatever.
3:21, 9:53 p.m.
Okay, so you love 16th through 19th. Are we going to see this again and again? Like, is this really going to happen all year?
I sure to hell hope so, because if it doesn't, then why did we make all of these changes? And I think we will. Like, let's be real. I think we will.
It was close racing. It was hard racing. It was on the limit. But I felt like it was respectful. Like, they gave each other space.
Mm-hmm. It was calm yet thrilling. It was truly a masterpiece to see two cars, two drivers racing for first place and have the ability to have that back and forth. I'm intrigued to see what happens later in the season once the drivers are a little bit more comfortable in the cars. I felt like everyone was taking it just a little bit on the easy side. And we saw that with Kevin Magnussen. I know he has not had as much time in these cars, but he was taking it a little easy. He had a couple lockups, a couple mistakes. There were a couple moments where I thought, oh, we could be pushing more, but I respected that they didn't because it is still so new for everybody.
I did love that literally, like it was 16, it 3 times in a row, it was the same strategy that Leclerc had. Like he broke late or broke early into turn 1 and then would like get him on the DRS in turn 4. And so I just thought it was so cool that it was like again and again. And then it was a mistake, like a subtle mistake. And I think that's why we like watching Formula 1. I think that's why I like watching Formula 1 is that you're waiting for like the moment of like, it's like chess. Like you're waiting for your opponent to like blink, to give their tell, to like go a little too hard or too soft into the corner. And that's when you strike. And I mean, he waited. He was patient. He took he was just, he watched it. He clocked it. He knew what he was waiting for. And when Max made that slight mistake, he was like, whoop, there I go. And that was awesome.
And Charles actually admitted after the race that he was braking a bit early into turn 1 to ensure that he had DRS for the rundown to turn 4 to repass Max. Incredible. Just great driving by him. And I cannot wait to see more of it this season because, like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think I've forgotten how much I like him as a driver.
The only thing that would have been better is if we had like George Russell, Lando Norris there as well, like a third car from a third constructor in. I don't care who the third constructor is. Hell, put Mick Schumacher up there. Creepy smile. Like, I don't care who the third constructor is, but I think the 3 up front was cool to watch because that's what we had. We had Ferrari, we had Red Bull, and we had Mercedes, which wasn't quite there, but they were still a presence.
Yeah, I would love a 4th. And it felt so nice to have all of these all of these drivers aiming for first place or aiming for higher positions. It just felt good. It felt like what F1 is supposed to be. Not just 2 drivers way ahead of the pack battling each other with the rest of the field 12 plus seconds behind. Everyone was up there fighting Kevin Magnussen, incredible driving, especially given that he hasn't had a ton of time in the car. So that kind of leads us into one question I wanted to ask, which with just one race under our belts, are we happy with what we saw in terms of this new car?
I think I am. I mean,
I think I am too.
Yes. The answer is yes. I am happy with what I am seeing so far. I think this is giving us what people want, right? Like people were unhappy with kind of what I would say like a couple of core problems. Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton always winning. Haas being horrible. Ferrari not being where they should be. And races feeling boring. So, if we're looking at just this race, Ferrari won. Haas wasn't bad. Magnussen was in 5th. I'm 5th.
Sorry, 4th and 11th.
No, Magnussen was
5th. He was 5th. Yeah, 5th
yes, and
11th.
Mick was 11th. Ferrari was quote unquote where the Tifosi think they should be and where, I mean, they should be up there fighting. Like, I agree.
Yeah.
And it did not feel stale. Because
no, not at all.
Just when I thought it was like, oh, this will be it, Gasly's car is on fire and Perez and Verstappen DNFs and then Perez DNFs and the race is completely different. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think is this what the rules intended to do?
I think so. I hope so. I hope it continues. I hope we don't see midway through the season 2 or 3 teams really excel ahead of the rest of the pack. I would hope that throughout the whole season we will see these dynamic races where it's not just the same podium over and over and over again. I think back to 2020 when it was Hamilton, Verstappen, Valtteri every single race. And so the fact that we're starting this season off with a 1-2 Ferrari with Hamilton on podium, I'm like, okay, give me more. What's going to happen next race? That's what I'm most excited about. Like, what is going to happen now?
I mean, what the hell is going to happen in Jeddah? I mean, last year was a dumpster fire of a disaster, controversial inferno. And that was in cars that people were used to driving. This is Monaco and Monza fused together with heavier cars. Okay. I think we just stop talking about Jeddah because I don't want to talk too much about Jeddah. Like, I want to say more things here, but like I don't want to jump into it because I really don't want to make too many predictions because I made too many predictions going into this weekend and I was atrociously wrong. I mean, my fantasy team was like atrocious this week. So I think we just leave it. I want to get another race under us and then I think we do a little comparing. What do you think?
I would agree. I don't even think I'm going to bet on this next race. I don't even think I'll be able to. And I'm just like, I'm totally unsure. I need one more race to feel confident in any sort of predictions.
I need just one more race to get a better idea of what I think about what I think about the year and how it's going to shake out. On a completely different note, I have one more last question before we jump into our winners and losers. Another couple of articles that came out were as a response to Stefano Domenicali. He made one giant statement about kind of the future of where Formula One races are going to be located, which is pretty timely considering we've just had, Russia be canceled. I know we have like Monaco hasn't re-signed its contract or re-signed its deal. Mexico, France, Belgium haven't. But Stefano Domenicali has talked about how, F1 wants to go to new places. This year we're going to have Miami, which we'll see in a couple of weeks. But there's other places. I mean, there's talk about Vegas, which would be a third race in the United States, which for some people could seem crazy. People want to go to South Africa. That was a big one that people had mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we have more in South America, more in Southeast Asia. But as new races get added, what does that mean for historic places? Domenicali kind of made it sound like it's a fair game.
Oh, this is a tough one. Because there's something so historic about some of these races that I would hate to not see them on the calendar. Perfect example, Monaco. A lot of people don't like Monaco. I, on the other hand, love Monaco. The race is boring, but qualies aren't crazy. And you know what? I'm going to take that back. The race isn't always boring. It can be, but it doesn't have to be in Monaco. And I think if we as a sport go to new places, there has to be a good balance between the classics and the new guys. And there also has to be the idea of not adding too many, because then it's going to lose some of its sustainability, its charm, its uniqueness, its eliteness, its short season is,
Literally made up a word.
Made up a word just there. We can't have 35 races every year.
No.
That'd be insane. We can't have, we're pushing our limits right now with 23, 24 next year. We've got China. We've got maybe Las Vegas. We have, what else is coming back next year? There's something else that's coming back next year that I'm not going to be able to come up with that then may push another. We want to go back to Cape Town. I would love to be back in Cape Town. Then what gets pushed off? Are there less overall races in Europe? Potentially. I don't know what's going to happen with 3 in the U.S., though, if Las Vegas gets the ticket. But if all of these places don't re-sign, I wouldn't mind skipping France.
I mean, the track's pretty, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't mind mixing it up a little bit.
I just think it's interesting.
Maybe it turns into like a lottery system. I know there's contracts signed and deals signed, but for the races that don't have those deals signed yet and want a race, maybe it does turn into a lottery system.
I think it's been very interesting that Dominicali has been around and is like, look, you've been around for a while. You might have pedigree, you might have tradition, but if you're not willing to keep up and provide the quality that we want, you know, the ability to offer more in terms of infrastructure, entertainment, management, enough people, the basics of running a full-scale event. He's like, look, like there are places that want this. I would not be surprised if we see some traditional venues go. And I mean, I'm sad I'd be sad to lose some of them. I don't ever think Monaco's going away. I'm sorry. I don't think that's going away. But it would be interesting if we move to a system where, you know, maybe it's like rolling. So they're every other year. Every year is not, you know, we don't always go back to the same track every year. Maybe it's every other year. I don't know how that works with contracts and stuff. It just seems like we're getting to a place where, you know, as it grows in popularity, there is going to just need to be a difference in, we don't go to the same, we don't have the same basic 15 and then 7 that change, or the same basic 18 and 4 that are different. Honestly, I'm kind of pissed they did Miami. I would have taken Vegas over Miami, like,
in a heartbeat.
A heartbeat. It's not even in Miami. It's like 30 miles north of Miami. They should have put it in silly. Like South Beach.
They should have done a street circuit in Miami, downtown Miami. That would have been incredible.
And then it would have like been worth the $4,500 for tickets. I don't want to go 30 minutes north.
All right, I think we should get into our winners and losers.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Did you go drivers or teams for your winners and losers?
I went drivers.
Oh,
what'd you do?
Perfect, because I went teams.
Okay.
I'll start.
Are we doing losers first or winners first? We didn't talk about this.
I think
we really talked about anything.
Go. Yeah, we have not discussed anything. I think we go losers. Let's get the bad news out of the way. Bad news bears. Mine's obvious. Red Bull. Like, they were second and fourth. That would have been great points to start the season. And their car couldn't even make it to the finish line. Think about it. If the race would have been 52 laps instead of 57 laps, they would have had points. If it would have been 54 laps, they would have had points. So they're my loser, and they've got to figure it out before next weekend. Because I want to see them do well.
Well, duh. I feel like that's a well done moment. Sorry, that sounded really pretentious,
No,
but
okay.
I felt like that was a real big, like, well done moment. I mean, I think it's pretty clear who my loser is. It's Pierre Gasly.
Oh,
I mean,
poor boy.
He qualified 10th. He was comfortably running in 8th. he was showing good pace. He had some good passes, and then the back of his car caught fire with 12 laps to go.
I'm pissed he DNF'd because I had him on my fantasy league.
I had AlphaTauri as my team.
Also, you gotta pull, before the end of this episode, you gotta pull yours up so we can compare.
I don't want to talk about it. And then
No,
we'll
we
go through the
have
bet.
to.
Okay. Pierre Gasly was my loser. Pretty obvious. I don't think I need to go more beyond the fact that he caught fire. But did you see it? Because we haven't really talked at all. Duh, like we've said it 1,000 times. Did you see what the dude tweeted or Instagrammed?
No, I didn't. No.
He literally said, wait, I have to pull it up. It's too funny. I'm going to mess it up. He goes, "Arr, don't like this Sunday barbecue." And a picture of him jumping out of it. I'm sorry. No one likes it. Come get this man off the internet. Arrgh. First off, are we a pirate?
Say that again. Say it again. Sunday barbecue.
Arrgh. ... Don't like this Sunday BBQ.
Don't like this Sunday BBQ. Wait, that's actually incredible. That's so much better than #the Phoenix.
I mean, literally, we can't get it to him because he.
We can't get into that. I'm sorry
still
about
not
that.
over.
I apologize.
I'm still not over his Instagram story of the Branzino on fire, and he's like, "Better the fish than my hand." Like that still burns in my memory. It's still on my phone, and so I occasionally scroll to it, and I'm like, "Ooh, no." Let me say, wait, let me go back. I scroll to it, and I'm like, "Arrgh,
Arrgh.
don't like this Sunday.
Don't like this Sunday BBQ."
Pierre
That's
Gasly,
incredible.
you are my loser because your car was literally on fire, and that comment about it was literally awful. So you're gonna double DNL.
All right, who is your winner?
My winner, pretty obvious, K-Mags, Kevin Magnussen. I mean, qualified 7th, finished 5th. It did take a bit of luck thanks to those 2 Red Bulls retiring, but Haas fucking deserved this. After the shit they have dealt with in the last month, the shit that they have dealt with in the last years.
They needed this.
They needed this. He scored 10 points, which is just as many as the team has gotten in the last 50 races, Katie. 50 races. Haas went 28 races without a point, and K-Mags brought it for him. He said, "I'm back, baby." After he made fun of their car and called it Herbie Fully Loaded, he got in that bitch and scored some points. And I loved every minute of it. Yes, there were some rough moments. He was rough around the edges. The first stint wasn't pretty, but he got lucky in his second stint. He got lucky after the safety car, and he got lucky in that final sprint race home to end up P5 with some good points. And it was great to see.
I love it. We're a K-Mag Stan account now, so if you don't like him, please do not talk to us.
And if you didn't like the picture of his child in his car with him, then you are literally a horrible human being.
She got in it again at the end of the race. I don't know if you saw that footage. It was really cute.
I'm
go look it up.
Immediately going to look it up.
This is what happens when we don't talk to each other. Is we each miss out on things. So it's good that we are talking about them.
Let's never not talk about a race again. Ever again.
Yeah, never again.
Who's your winner?
My winner.
Ferrari?
It's Ferrari. Duh. Has to be. It's simple. 1-2 to start the season, ending the podium drought since Singapore 2019. It's time. The Tifosi are happy. It's all red. We're all bleeding red. We're all happy about it. If you're upset about this, I don't understand why.
Don't
so, yeah, they're my winner.
Bleed red?
We're bleeding extra red this week.
You win.
All right,
okay.
I win.
You win with that one. I'll give
winner.
you that one. We bleed extra red.
We bleed extra red this week. All right, I'm bringing us into our hidden gem. Our hidden gem of the week. F1 fans can now vote via social media for the boldest and the bravest maneuver of the day, with that driver earning the Overtake King Award. There's one winner per round, and at the end of the season, each and every winning moment will be pitted against one another for the fans to vote on for the best move of the season. And that driver will win the 2022 Crypto.com Overtake King Award.
Such a better way of doing it. Like, this is going to be way more fun.
1,000% way better. Oh my gosh, when I read this, I was so excited because not only is it not going to be our tried and true oldies in the midfield overtaking against each other, but it's going to be all these great, incredible moments from every race this season pitted against each other. And guess who gets to vote on it? We do.
So if you haven't started voting for it, make sure you're paying attention. I care more about this than driver of the day. Sorry, I'm going to put it out there. Let's make sure the boldest moves are celebrated. Let's honor them. Let's vote for them. And then at the end of the year, let's all like argue and complain about them and complain when our favorites don't make it and when our favorites do.
I love it.
Okay, our honorable mention for the first round of the 2022 season is Guan Yu Zhao. In his rookie debut, he earned points for Alfa Romeo. This is pretty impressive considering I'm pretty sure everyone wrote him off. I know most of us did, including me and Katie. Honestly, we thought he was going to be at the back of the pack and he was well off of our radar. But this weekend, while it was just 1 point, it did show that he's here. He's a presence and he is going to be more than just a Nicholas Latifi in a red and white car. I didn't want to say it. I said it. I'm excited. It should be interesting. I think he's going to be a good teammate for Valtteri. Overall, Alfa Romeo had a great weekend, and I'm excited to see what the partnership is going to do and to see how this rookie year is going to shake out for him because it started off pretty great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for what he has to offer. And you're right, we both did write him off, but we can always change that. All right, before we get into our up next, pull up your fantasy. We're doing it. I'm making you do it. I had Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Charles Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, and Ferrari. So my total is 1,091 points.
Katie, should we tell everyone what the bet is?
Yeah. The bet is whoever wins the fantasy between Megan and I gets to pick out a tattoo of their choice to go on the loser's body. And because we're sisters, we're not putting a size constraint on it, a dollar constraint on it, or a location constraint on it. I just came up with all of those three things. I hope she's all right with it. It seems like she is.
I'm just going to co-sign all of that. Okay, for my fantasy team, I had Pierre Gasly, I had Carlos Sainz, I had Lando Norris, I have Kevin Magnussen, I have Lance Stroll, and I have AlphaTauri, and I ended up with a dismal 865 points.
Oof. All right, so I'm in the lead this week. We'll have to see where next week takes us.
Yeah, I got to make up some ground.
I have some money to spend.
Happy for you.
Up next is the Saudi Arabian GP in Jeddah at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. The 50-lap race takes place on Sunday, March 27th for round 2 of the season. It is located on the Corniche, a coastal resort area in the ancient Saudi Arabian city of Jeddah, and this will be the second Saudi Arabian GP under the lights. The first race was last year, and it was a double red flag controversial nightmare ending in a Lewis Hamilton victory and 5 full DNFs. We had Mick Schumacher spinning into the wall, Charles Leclerc and Nikita Mazepin colliding with George Russell and taking out Sergio Perez, and Vettel retiring after his contact with Tsunoda. That does not even cover the Lewis and Max drama, the Michael Massey Red Bull penalty negotiation, and the controversial brake check, non-brake check, we don't really know what happened situation and penalties. Needless to say, last year was crazy, so if this year is half as crazy, it is going to be a wild weekend. The track is fast, very fast, second only to Monza and the fastest street circuit. 27 corners and they are tight like Monaco. In the words of Toto Wolff, it's balls on the dashboard. The on-track action is wild under the lights and the views are stunning. Join us next week for our race recap.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us at Dirty Driving Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
Until next time, stay dirty.